Do you have the right tools to succeed in your medical coding career? Well, today I'm going to go over some essential tools that will help you out with your efficiency and your productivity. Now, obviously, as a medical coder, you're going to need your code books, either the paper version or the ebooks, which I'm trying to get a little bit more familiar with. But other than a computer and your handy dandy code books, what else do you need? Well, let's talk about it. By the way, today's video is sponsored by Preppy, but more on them in a few minutes. Now, the number one thing that you will absolutely need as a medical coder, hands down, is a second monitor. A second monitor is a game changer for medical coders because it allows you to have all of your coding references on one screen and then your medical records on the other, so you can easily toggle back and forth. This saves a ton of time between switching between windows. You could also use an ultra-wide monitor. I've used those in the past where you can just click and snap one window onto one side and click and snap one window onto the other, but a lot of people prefer to use the two monitors. But if you're limited on desk space, I will also link below an ultra-wide monitor that I really like, and I will link everything that I'm talking about today in the description below if there's any products that you are interested in purchasing. Now, if you're someone who's on the go or you maybe don't want to have that on your desk all of the time, you can do what I do, which is use a portable second monitor. I love my portable second monitor. It folds up to like almost nothing, and I can easily just stick it in my backpack with my laptop, so that if I'm going somewhere like a conference and I'm like, ooh, I might want to pull up my second monitor, it just plugs right in and it's just so easy. And something that's recently come out that I think is so totally cool is there is a new tool that you can basically attach to your laptop that adds 2 additional monitors, one on each side of your laptop monitor. So depending on how much and your ability to multitask, that's something you might be interested as well. I've known some people, like my friend Tony L. Holmes, has multiple monitors because what she does in her sector in legal affairs is very complex. So she needs to look at a lot of different things at once. I know even like Michael Misko has commented that he has many monitors because, again, he works in the legal spectrum and has to have lots of references available at once. But for the standard day-to-day medical coder, 2 monitors or 1 ultra-wide will probably do. A second essential tool for a medical coder is a stand-up desk, especially because those of us that have been in medical coding for a little bit of time and are more experienced and very motivated tend to work multiple jobs. We want to maximize our efficiency while we're working from home and not having to commute, so it's not uncommon for medical coders to have 1 full-time job and then a part-time job as well, and that is a lot of time sitting. Honestly, 1 full-time job is a lot of time sitting. So being able to have that flexibility of sitting and standing is awesome. I have sit-stand desks both at my home office and my studio office. There are a lot of variety of ones. I really like the one that I just got from FlexiSpot. They gifted it to me as part of a sponsorship deal, so thank you very much to FlexiSpot. But if you don't want to get a whole apparatus, or you're like, that looks like a lot to put together, there are also tabletop variations where you can basically pick up almost like a little platform and pick that up, and the platform itself that your computer or monitor is on rises. And it often does keep you alert and focused. I've even heard as a presenter there are some philosophies that you present differently when you're standing versus when you're sitting down. So oftentimes people, when they're presenting for Zoom meetings, will have a stand-up desk and they will stand up during the presentation because it helps keep them a little bit more alert and engaged. Oftentimes people will also pair this with a walking pad. I have a walking pad at home. It is pretty bulky, but they've gotten so much smaller and more compact that something that you would use for the purposes of working with a stand-up desk, they now can fold up and tuck away so easily. So I will link below to the one that I use, and then the new ones that are like super compact. I don't know about you guys, but anything I can do to just like burn a couple extra calories during the day is fantastic. And of course, the walking pads that I'm going to link are not going to be good for like marathon running, but for the purposes of just slowly walking as you're working, phenomenal. Now, the third thing is sticky notes. I am a sticky noteaholic. I take little notes on them all the time. Sometimes I unfortunately use them as scratch paper. I write down little coding notes, stick them to my monitor. I write down deadlines, reminders, all kinds of things. It's great to keep things visible and accessible. I actually have some of the big sticky pads too, and then I'll take these And maybe like if I'm organizing a whole bunch of tasks, write down all of my tasks, and then I can move them around to like organize my day. But just as a gentle reminder, loose papers such as sticky notes, even the clear ones, are not permitted in your code books if you are sitting for a coding examination. The only thing you're allowed to have in your books during the coding exams, other than stuff that you write in there, is tabs to bookmark your pages. Now, if you want to use less paper, you could try out something like a whiteboard, or they even make like almost those large desk pads or mouse pads that have whiteboard capability that you can write on with expo markers and wipe them off. Like maybe if you're trying to figure out a level of service for E&M, you can just write some things down or jot some things down and erase them. While on the subject of stationery, which I love, I am also a big fan of paper to-do lists. I have tried a million ways, and I do have some things that I keep on Google Drives, but as far as like my day-to-day to-do list, I love just having, this is the one I use. I just got it off Amazon. They have a million different variations of this. This is the one that I like because it's rose gold, which I love. And it just has my priorities for the day, people I need to contact, tasks, things I need to buy. And I put the little date at the top, and it just helps me keep track of what my tasks are for that day. Tool number 4 is highlighters. I know so many medical coders that swear by highlighting and notating their book. Every single year, they want to make sure that they take that time out. If you are someone who is sitting for a certification exam, you are definitely want to make sure that you have a good pack of highlighters to highlight things in your book. You can highlight crucial information in your code book, study tips, all kinds of things that you want to have a little accent to, or I guess even doodle on. These are the ones that I use. I know some people like the Sharpie chisel ones that you can click. And I know a lot of people are a big fan of the gel, or what are often referred to as the Bible highlighters, because they are more adept at not smearing through the paper as you are highlighting various amounts of text. I'll link below as well one of the popular types of the gel highlighters that are supposed to not bleed through your code books. But of course, if you're going through a medical coding training program like Preppy, you're not going to need any of those because they're going to give you ebooks, which you can digitally highlight. And what is Preppy? I am so glad you asked. Well, you want to head over to medicalcodingmasterclass.com. That is the free career masterclass that I have put together with Preppy. And it talks about not just the program, but like everything you need to know to succeed as a medical coder. What kind of training you need, what certifications you should go for, what are your salary expectations, what is a day like, and just breaks it all down. And honestly, Preppy is the best program to prepare you for all of that. You get things that you wouldn't get with other programs, like a college certificate, and there is an externship program. It gives you this full roadmap of how you can definitely succeed as a medical coder, and you can sign up for free, medicalcodingmasterclass.com. I will link it in the description below as well. And then the last thing you will need as a medical coder is some sort of encoder tool. While it's great to have those paper books or even your ebooks, and you can love those, you need to have an encoder tool because it can allow you to code better and faster. Depending on the software that you have, some of them have lookup much easier than what you could use in a code book. For example, you can type in something like liver and it'll prompt you. Oh, do you mean a biopsy of the liver? Do you mean a scan of the liver? Do you mean a segmentectomy of the liver? What did you do to the liver? And help direct you through those prompts to the correct code. That's usually something you'll see more with the 3M encoder. And then of course we have products like Find a Code, which I like, or AAPC Codify, which integrate with some of the other products that they have. But essentially what you really want to do is expedite things like your NCCI edit checks or reading lay descriptions of the terms. That is what I think is phenomenal about using the encoder programs, is you can, even after you find a code in the code book, you can type that into your encoder and oftentimes find the lay description or layman's, or the common person's language of what that code means, how that procedure should be documented, how it should look, how it kind of is performed, what are the procedures in that code. And of course there's various options at various budgets. If you work for a large organization, they might get you something with 3M or something with Optum that has a lot more capacity than something you would maybe buy individually for yourself because you're considering your budget. If you're considering budget, probably look for something more like Find a Code if you're paying for it for yourself. The interface for Find a Code is a little less overwhelming as well. But the key with whatever encoder software you use is to really get familiar with all of the tools and the capabilities, because I've worked in organizations where the coders had an encoder type of product, but they really didn't know how to utilize all of the different tools in it, which meant they weren't using it to their fullest capacity. All of the different programs out there have tutorials, so whatever program you are using, make sure you watch the tutorial so you know all of the different cool things that the program can do for you. So to recap, you're going to need a second monitor, a sit-stand desk, sticky notes for things like quick reminders, or even a to-do list so that you can remember what you're supposed to be doing that day, highlighters so that you have easy identification of your references, and an encoder tool to make you more efficient and productive in your coding. I hope you found this video helpful in discovering some more essential tools to help you out in your coding journey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely drop me some comments about some tools that you find helpful when you're working in medical coding. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. And until then, just keep on coding on.